It's been an interesting offseason for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have a new coach, but still a lot of question marks. Hunter Hodies of Locked On Penguins is here to discuss this, plus the direction of the team, coming up next on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Penguins, Hunter Hodies. And Hunter, great to have you here. It's been an interesting offseason, without a doubt, for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Look, how do you go about judging the moves they made during the offseason?
These are about what you would expect from a team that is clearly in transition. They are rebuilding. They have not officially said that word yet, Gil, but all their moves indicate that, yes, this is a rebuild. They just have not officially put a label on it, but that is exactly what they're doing. You don't take on Matt Dumba's contract, which only has a year left and who wasn't that good last year, if you are not rebuilding. You don't trade for someone like Connor Clifton, who also was not good last year, if you are not rebuilding. So get those two trades, early in the offseason. You sign Justin Brazeau, which I like that signing quite a bit, can give you a bit offensively, can punish you in the defensive zone with his physicalness. Also decent with his defensive play, but he's really a big body that can throw a bunch of hits, and he's kind of a better version of Noah Chari, in my opinion. And then you have Anthony Mantha, who will try to fill the Anthony Beauvillier role, where if you can get, 15, 20 goals out of him going into the deadline, you can flip him for assets because it's only a one-year term. Yes, he's coming off a torn ACL, but again, the hope is that he is last year's version of Beauvillier, and the Penguins got a second-round pick for him at the deadline when they traded him to the Washington Capitals. Everyone is waiting for, the big moves, Rickard Rakell, Erik Karlsson, Brian Rust, but thing is, Gil, they're not in a rush. Like, if some teams don't want to meet their asking price, they'll just be like, okay, well, we'll hold on to these guys until a team meets our price, and it seems like they have no problem doing that, potentially even into next season's trade deadline. But also right now, it's only August 10th. We still have a little over a month away until training camp. So anything can happen. We've seen 2 years in a row where Kyle Dubas likes to strike in August, and he also strikes kind of out of the shadows. It's funny. He learned a lot from Lou, I feel like, during their time together. Not a lot gets out when Kyle Dubas is running the show here, just like it was for Lou on Long Island.
Yeah, that could be frustrating if you're covering the team or if you're a fan. How is Sidney Crosby taking all of this? Because there's been so much talk about sort of the contradiction between needing to rebuild and trying to get Letang and Crosby and Malkin one more shot at the playoffs, one more shot at a cup. What has been the veterans' reaction?
Well, he knew he signed up for this. He signed an extension almost around this time last year, pretty close to this time. He knew what he signed up for when he signed that 2-year extension. He has 2 years left on this contract that's about to kick in starting this season. He knew what they were doing. So if he really wanted to, he could have been like, no, don't want to stick around, but he wants to be a Penguin for life. I don't want to really spend too much time on those baseless rumors that you see from these, weird NHL accounts about talking about him going to Colorado or Montreal. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't want to leave Pittsburgh. He wants to stay here and play with Kris Letang and Evgeni Malkin and potentially be here once this team wants to start getting better again. So, I'm sure maybe deep down he's could be a little annoyed, but for the most part, he signed up for this. So that's where it is at the end of the day.
First time in a long time, new coach in Pittsburgh. What did you think of the move? Were you surprised by it? And what do you expect to be different this year?
It's funny, I was surprised by it just because his name was not in there at all until I would say the final couple of days when Elliot Freeman went on 32 Thoughts and was like, oh yeah, Dan Muse I heard interviewed. And then once he put the name out that he was being hired, I think everyone in the Penguins fan base was like, who the hell is this guy? And I was like that a little bit to an extent. I had heard of him a little bit, but I was by no means an expert. I had to do my own research quite a bit. But, he's coached a lot of young players throughout his coaching career. He has a history with Rutger McGroarty, who I do expect to be on the Penguins roster this upcoming season. He had a really nice sample size to end last season playing in the top 6 with Sidney Crosby. So that relationship, that's going to be really nice to see. But, one of the big pillars of his system is puck pressure. Another one is puck support. So I think you're going to see a lot of those, or at least those main 2 things for the Penguins. But it's really nice that you will get to see also a fresh set of ideas. It felt like for a little bit, and even though I was a big Mike Sullivan guy, towards the end, I was like, okay, it's probably time to make a change here. And just some of his ideas were going a little bit stale, in my opinion. So it'll be nice to have a brand new coaching staff. They can bring fresh, innovative ideas to the team, and we'll go from there. Excuse me. This is Dan Muse's first NHL head coaching gig. He's obviously been on the bench a couple of times throughout his coaching career for NHL. He's been a head coach for a while before that, but in terms of NHL, he's been an assistant coach before a couple of times. So he'll bring that experience to this gig. But I like how he was able to surround him with good quality coaches. You have Todd Nelson, who has been a head coach for a long time, really good with development. He did a great job in Hershey. You have Rich Clune, who I'm curious to see how he does with development. You also have Nick Bonino, who he can relate to some of the core players. I really like that quite a bit. He'll work with the penalty kill, maybe a little bit with the forwards. And then you have Mike Stothers, who is also going to work the PK. He's been around for quite a while too. So it's a nice mix skill of veterans, but also some new blood in there. And that's why I think the direction, it's a good direction to go towards, in my opinion.
Is there any player in particular who you think will benefit most from this coaching change?
That's a good question. If he is still here, I could see maybe Erik Karlsson benefiting, just because I don't think he was fitting Mike Sullivan's system that well. You saw how well he played at the Four Nations in a different system for the Swedish national team. If he is still here at camp and for the regular season, will Dan Muse look to tweak a couple things in his game? How will he fit in his system? I mentioned Rutger McGroarty. I think that's going to be a really seamless fit for him because he's coached McGroarty before. Maybe someone like Ville Koivunen. We'll have to see. And maybe even Tommy Novak. I've written about this and talked about it quite a bit throughout this offseason. I think a lot of Penguins fans are sleeping on Novak this year. Only played a couple of games before he got hurt. So I think he could fit the system here fairly well as well.
Got to ask about the goaltending. It's sort of an ongoing issue in Pittsburgh. Where does it stand now, and how confident are you about the goaltending?
Well, not confident in Tristan Jarry, but it looks like he is going to be the starter unless something unexpected happens, Gil, where a team comes calling and they want to trade for him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he is going to start the season as a starter. After that, though, we have to see. There is a competition brewing between Yoel Blomqvist and Arthur Shelovs. And if I had to guess right now, I think Arthur Shelovs is going to win that job. He was amazing for the Baby Canucks in the AHL playoffs this year. Calder Cup MVP, well over a 920 save percentage. I believe it was 931 off the top of my head, if I have that right. He was tremendous for them. And when the games get big, he really steps up. His NHL sample this year wasn't the greatest, but I like that they were able to really get him going in the AHL playoffs. So he's going to come over, bring that competition, and say he wins that backup job during camp and preseason. Yeah, he'll have a chance to potentially push Jarry this year, especially if Jarry struggles, which, I mean, I kind of expect just because of how inconsistent he is.
Fill in the blank for me on this. This will be a successful season for the Penguins if?
Well, if A, they get the goaltending, B, the defense isn't that good, and C, I think, the bottom 6 really steps up and they really get great contributions, from the top 6. A lot of ifs have to go happen for that if they want to make the playoffs. But if you want to flip it around, Gil, a successful season also looks like if they get Gavin McKenna and get the number 1 overall pick and piss everyone off. So there you go.
Something the Penguins historically have done very well when generational talents are on the line. Hunter, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Well, my dog's barking downstairs, so that's a little annoying right now. I apologize about that to everyone. But, you can follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodies. You can follow the show's Twitter at LO_Penguins. You can follow also me on the Hockey News, where I cover the Penguins. And then you can follow my co-host, Patrick Damp, at Send for Wet on Blue Sky and all the other platforms. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, all those other great platforms.
All right, Hunter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch Money does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL.